Well, hello, my friends. I hope you are doing well. Welcome to my room. Today I'm going to share with you some observations in response to, quite a few emails I get, year on year, complaining for the most part about the state of the personality community and calling it toxic. If you'd like to have my thoughts on this, stick to this, video because I have thoughts to share. Sure, I'll share some thoughts. I think it's about time. I'm in good company as usual. My right hand side, the poetry obsessed Chainsaw Man, and on my left hand side, the ever contemplative Humphrey the Dromedary. Slightly annoying weather in the sense it shifts a lot, so I may have to make some adjustments if that's the case. Sorry about that. So yeah, let's try to see, let's try to figure out if we can say some interesting things about the state of the personality community today. Right now, before I move on, in case you did not know, if you want to know everything about the INFJ type, if you want to be super knowledgeable, get the Ecstatic Soul if you haven't already. It's my book on the INFJ. The link is below. Amazon link, less than $10. You can also get The Infinite Castle, which is my recent novel, The Infinite Castle. The rumor is the main character is an INFJ. If you're into modern literature, you might really enjoy it, and you support the channel by the same token, which you can also do by supporting my Patreon page at the link below, knowing that you can get access to exclusive content for pretty moderate cost every month, and you really support me and the work I do on this channel. Now, like I was saying, it's really not rare for me to get emails or, DMs telling me that the personality community, it's not so much that it's toxic now, but it's always been toxic to varying degrees, and wanting my thoughts on this and what can be done against this, and to not fall into traps like cult-like behavior, and we know the vicious circles that can happen from that. Preying on people who are perhaps a little bit fragile or vulnerable makes it also very hard for these people to leave those communities, if they do have those cult-like characteristics. What I would say from my part, first of all, some kind of disclaimer, I guess, is that I don't know if I'm the most trustworthy source when it comes to making general statements about the personality community, because I'm not that I'm not involved in the personality community as a whole. I make my videos, I interact with you, I interact with some other people from other places, but I'm not my involvement is not super sustained or intense. I wish it were more, and it was more so in the past probably, but life stuff, getting married, looking for a job, lots of stuff, let's just make it harder to be super involved. There are people who are really, really involved. There are people whose involvement cuts across communities in the ecosystem, which speaks to something I want to say from the start. I don't think that there is a whole synthesized, coherent personality community. It's more like a multitude of different islands, like communities that do interact with each other, but without necessarily forming a coherent whole. And I think it's very obvious when you think that, these islands can range from, C.S. Joseph to Joyce Meng to cognitive type, completely different approaches, to type. And I guess you could also place me somewhere in that ecosystem and say, okay, Ren's island has, some overlap with this islands, maybe less with that island. Sometimes these kind of relationships can shift across time, tectonic plates. But given that I don't think there is a coherent whole personality community, you can't really apply the adjective toxic to it. What you can do is apply the adjective toxic to islands within those communities. Within that broader ecosystem. So to be completely honest and transparent, the majority of testimonies that I get through email refer to only certain islands as toxic, not them all. Certainly the one that's referred to, that's that features the most in my communications from people who've experienced these communities. I have not, so again, take what I'm saying with a pinch of salt, but I'm just relaying what I hear. The one that's referred to the most is C.S. Joseph's community. It is true that, he calls himself a psychologist on his Instagram, which maybe he has removed that, but I don't know about that. But it says a lot about what you can expect from a community where that kind of thing is done. When being a psychologist requires certain formal qualifications. But in any case, apparently there's a lot of cult-like behavior there, a lot of toxic behavior there. I hear that from a lot of quarters, from a lot of people, including from what you might call leaders in certain islands, right? Sometimes important islands, which I shall not name. I'll keep them anonymous, but that's also what I'm hearing. Interestingly, lately I've been getting emails some emails from people saying that objective personality has also some toxicity in it and is exhibiting signs of cult-like behavior. I've never interacted with them. I've interacted with people who know them and who are familiar with their work in my YouTube comment section and on Discord. Same for C.S. Joseph. Although what I've noticed with C.S. Joseph, which would tend to give substance to the claim that there is some toxicity, is that a lot of the time people who come from these communities, so they are either very damaged and really they need support and empathy, or they really seem to be still under the spell of whatever is cult-like about it. It's very hard to reason and dialogue on rational grounds with them. There's not a lot of acceptance of critique or such things. I have also heard about toxic behavior of much smaller islands, that you may not be familiar with, because the thing is, like in any personality ecosystem, you're going to have the big communities, like the large ones, from the very informal communities of Frank James. That does not claim to be, referring to like type theory in a very kind of engaged and substantial way. There is a big humorous element to it, which is fine. To very niche communities that claim to be very focused on type. But these niche communities, they can be toxic, but they don't concern as many people. So I hear things sometimes, but I don't know if it's worth relating here. That being said, there's also communities that I've been involved with that enough to know that there's not as much toxicity, or little toxicity, I would say. So for example, if you take the main server of cognitive type, I don't see a lot of toxicity there. There may have been in the past, but I don't see a lot of toxicity there now. I think that they are very good in how they moderate stuff to prevent that from happening, because there is an awareness on the part of its leaders, so to speak, that this can happen. They've been through it, maybe there or in previous communities that they used to belong to. So I would say, for example, cognitive type is an example of quite a healthy community. I've never heard anything particularly bad about Joyce Menk's community. I've never heard anything particularly bad about Eric Thor's community. I've never heard anything bad about Harry CPT's community. In fact, I don't know. Does he have a community? You guys probably know better. I know some of his video content, but I don't know if there's like a thriving, active community there as well, like say on Discord. Because they're among like INFJs, like say if you take Michael Pierce, myself, and possibly Harry, but I'm not sure about Harry. What you'll notice is that there's often a reluctance to actually create a real community somehow. Like you don't want to get it sometimes, you feel like there's a reason why you're hesitant. I created a Discord server for like 5 minutes before I deleted it. And it took much convincing for me to even attempt to open one, but it was quite clear that I just didn't want that somehow. It was just something about it felt like too much or not for me. And this and Michael Pierce, like as big as some of his videos are, and a lot of people know him and really respect him, he doesn't have much, he's not active trying to build a community. And I don't know about Harry, but that could be the case as well. Either way, like in relation to these two names, no toxicity whatsoever as far as I know. So really, when people say like the personality community is toxic or cancer, like I've sometimes heard, pay attention maybe to what these people are really saying. Maybe they're actually referring to a group of people more specific than just the personality community as a whole. The fact of the matter is, usually a point of entry into the personality community is through localized islands that some of which have the reputation of being toxic and others do not. So that does add another criterion to, you know, what community you should join. You should take into account what angle on personality you're interested in. Like, if you're interested in something very informal, very humorous, Frank James is a good protocol. If you're interested in something more investigative and theoretical and, you know, hands-on, if you like, you may want to go to Harry or to Cognitive Type, or, you know, hopefully my channel too. But you have to also add to that, you know, equation. Do a bit of research into, okay, is this community, have things been said about that community being cultish or toxic? Knowing that there is no correlation between, you know, being more theoretical and being less toxic, in the same way there's no correlation between being more relaxed and less toxic. It's kind of research you have to do on an individual basis, and I've shared some insights with you here, and as you can see, my insights are limited and they reflect the limited nature of my involvement, but hopefully they were useful, and hopefully my community is a good example of a non-toxic one as well. But, you know, it's not a huge community, so maybe it's easier, I'm not sure. Let me know in the comments anyway what you think and what your own experiences have been. I think everybody would be really eager to read about these if you're willing to share. All right, see you soon, guys. Take care.